didn't.
Okay,
So I thought,
yes, that's fine, that's fine.
whatever you want me to do.
No, I want you
You're
to
the
do
boss
that.
now,
Mm-mm.
okay? Well, good morning, and I thank you. I don't know if you asked me or Miss Jackson asked me, but I'm always glad to come and talk about the history of Creekwood High School. It's meant a lot to me over the years, and just to give you a little background, I was at Dixon County High School for 30 years. I was a teacher, I was a coach, I was a coordinator, administrator, and a club sponsor. Did cheerleaders for 21 years, track for 20, cross country 16, assisted in girls basketball either 4 or 5 years. I was 2 years an assistant softball coach and 1 year as a head coach before I went in as assistant principal, and I was there as assistant principal for 7 years. Coordinator around 21 years, started as a sophomore. We didn't have freshmen back in 1972. They came along after Creekwood was in the picture, planning stages. Then I was a junior coordinator and finally graduated as a senior coordinator. I was appointed principal of Creekwood High School in October of 2001 of this $25 million building. And I still had full-time duty at Dixon County. After Christmas, they did let me work 2 days a week on Creekwood. I went down to the central office. The ones at Dixon County did not like doing that, and there was animosities about another school opening. I applied for principal because I felt strongly that the students that would have been at Dixon County, who were just going to be housed in a different building, ought to have some of us that had been at Dixon County, not to take the same traditions over there, but some of the same and maybe tweak them a little bit. The name, the colors, and the mascot. The 7th and 8th graders that would be sophomore, juniors, and seniors were asked to nominate colors. And I looked back through my notes, I could not find the other colors. I know that red, blue, and silver was nominated. I think blue and green were nominated. I feel like they did not nominate purple, gold, or black because they didn't want to have either Charlotte or White Bluffs colors. The board voted on the 3 sets, and as you know, the blue, the silver, and the red won that. The mascots. The hawk was nominated and voted on by the board, and it was, and I'm not sure if another one was eagles, and I don't remember the other one. But anyway, when I came around and saw the red roof on this building, I called them Red Hawks. I enlarged it to Red Hawks. Thought it sounded better, Creekwood Red Hawks instead of just Creekwood Hawks. Besides, we had some Red Hawks that circled. They lived in this area, and we'd see them sitting on the line out there out in the mornings as we'd come into school. And then the name, there were 3 names suggested. One was Liberty, because this is near the Liberty community. Jones's Creek, which is just right down the road from here. And then Creekwood. I've got my things out of order here. I'm the one that nominated Creekwood. I've been trying to come up with a name that would have the C in it and the W because of Charlotte and White Bluff, or William James. And as I was passing school one day, passed over Jones's Creek, I said, Creek. You know, little bells go off sometimes. That starts with a C. And looked around, and the wood's right there, and I said a W, so Creekwood. And you do it 2 names. Do you have an idea why you would do 2 names? Most times Creekwood would be written as one word, and that would be CHS. That leaves out White Bluff. So if you have Creek Woods, 2 different words, you have CWHS, and it involves both communities. And see, at that time, White Bluff and Charlotte, and they may still do it for all I know, don't really like each other. But there's a lot of rivalry at the middle school level, and I was told that I could not unite the 2 communities, but we did. They came together for the good of this school. So then the board did vote on that and adopted Creekwood as the name. All right, the mascot. I met with, after I found out I was going to be principal, I did meet with a group of juniors who would be going to Creekwood. We had about 100 that decided to come, and you know, that was a big decision for them to make. They'd been at Dixon County for 3 years, and so they made the leap to come to a brand new school, not knowing, one, that it was even talked that the school wouldn't even open that year. But anyway, the ones that chose, and that group made some decisions. And one of them was our mascot. What is it going to look like? And they were interested in the hawk with the wings spread out wide, similar to Atlanta. And so we did adopt that as our spirit hawk. I had Curtis Sutherland, who was at the Renaissance Center, who now teaches at Dixon. He designed the walking hawk, and we call that our attitude hawk, because he was standing there and he had a little bit of attitude. That emblem has changed throughout the years. It's not used very much now. And I think the baseball team influenced that, and that's all right. Choice of students is what's most important. The school crest. We looked at Dixon County school crest, and of course we didn't want one that was exactly like that one. So this group decided they wanted the spread wings on top. And then your banner I saw as you go down the steps, y'all see that every day. We had the shield underneath it, and we divided it into 4 parts, just like Dixon County. The harp was to stand for humanities and the arts. The infinity sign, I guess that's what that's called, for mathematics and science. We put the mortarboard and the scroll to stand for academic excellence. You'll also notice 2 hands joined together. We did that as a symbol to show that Charlotte and White Bluff and the other communities were coming together to form one at the school. And the Creekwood school name was in a banner underneath, 2002 at the top. And after our first graduation, people came up and said, well, you put the wrong date on the diplomas, because it had the crest on it, or the invitation. And I said, well, no, that 2002 is when this school was founded, and that's why it's still on there. After we had the crest, we had Jostens come in and asked them to design a invitation for graduation. I think it still stands. We had a picture of the outside of the building, and then our crest, and the class, whatever year it is, there at the top. And I'm not sure if that still stands as the logo you have. Okay, graduation, talked about that. The gowns, that was decided later in the school year, probably sometime before Christmas. I had thought it'd be good for seniors to wear gray gowns. No one around this area that I knew of wore gray gowns. They didn't like that idea, so that was fine. They voted, and they all voted to wear red gowns for graduation. And we went with one color. Dixon has 2, the blue for boys and white for girls, and we didn't want to do something similar to Dixon. So all the boys and the girls wore the red gown. It made it easier on the girls, because the girls at Dixon County, when you wear a white gown, had to have a particular, had to have a white dress supposedly underneath, so it wouldn't show through. So red gowns. That's how they still do wear the red gowns. The alma mater. The alma mater is by a creek in Wooded Valley. Our alma mater stands. We pledge to you our loyalty as we join our hands. Courage, honor, truth, and spirit guide us day to day. Here's to you, our alma mater, Creekwood all the way. And that was written by my husband. And Ms. Jackson was saying that y'all don't know, that you had an alma mater?
No, they didn't know the,
Don't know the words, okay.
They didn't know the words to the fight song.
Okay. The fight song was written by John T. Martin. John T. graduated from Dixon County High School. He was in the band there, was a drum major there. He went on to UT Knoxville and was a drum major there, was into music. So I asked him to write the fight song. He sent me a tape with that music on it, and I gave that to Mr. Sally. I had hired Mr. Sally as a band director, one of the best hires I ever made. I made several good ones and a few bad ones along the way. He was one of the good ones.
We're good. We're the good ones.
They were some of the good ones. And he took that, and after listening to it, I guess he wrote the sheet music to the one that is played. I know when I was here, we always played it after a score. It's played basketball, and anyway, that's how we came to that fight song. The teachers for this building, most of them came from the 9th grade building. What's now the 6th grade building, the Sullivan building, is what we call lower campus, and that housed the 9th graders, because Dixon County, when it was first built, was 10 through 12. So when the seniors were freshmen, I believe it was, is when they opened up and changed, brought the 9th graders into that building. Few from upper campus came, but as I said, there were some hard feelings about a new high school coming about. So most of them did not want to come, and they didn't. They looked at me kind of as a traitor for leaving Dixon County, and I love Dixon County, but my heart was here. One, because I gave it the name, but two, I just thought it was important getting the school off on the right ground. I hired Jackie Bledsoe as the football coach and assistant principal, and Roger Heath was the other assistant principal. He was also athletic director, and they took care of discipline, and I did the rest. All right, then uniforms. On the uniforms, I'll start with the band first. We didn't have a band director, and it was in January, and I was told we really needed to get those uniforms ordered. So I met with 2 different companies. I asked Lisa Field, who did band at Charlotte and White Bluff, and who would be helping at Creekwood some. We met with the companies, and I told them what I wanted. I mean, since I was the principal, it's going to be my decision. I decided to just do what I liked, and it turned out Mr. Sally liked that. I think he's still using it. I kind of like the West Point look, and so that's with the navy pants and the red jacket and blue piping and the blue hats. I think he's still using them that way. And at some point during our first year, I called the band the Spirit of Creekwood Marching Band. I think that still sticks. I was trying to emphasize spirit. Dixon County was all about pride, pride, pride. Well, I thought, why not use spirit? Didn't want to use the same words. You don't want to be a copycat. And when you think, I thought of a hawk, I thought of spirit because it's flying around. And sports, I'd hired Coach Bledsoe, and I helped pick out. He liked the Ole Miss uniform. I did too. This is one of our the helmets from that the first one. I didn't want a CW on the side because Dixon County has the initials DC. Again, looking for something a little different so we'd have our own personality. Didn't want a white helmet. So if you've seen the Ole Miss uniform with the dark helmet and the script writing, and I know Coach Daniel went away from that for a little while, but I think he's back with it. But even, a lot of decisions go into this. You don't just say, I want that football helmet. You have to decide on the color, then any striping. These face guards come in different colors, so we had to decide that. And so we decided this was a good-looking helmet. As I hired other coaches, they ordered their own uniforms. Ms. Jackson got to order her, I knew she would, when I hired her as English, I knew she was going to be the softball coach even before it was official. Since that we coached, I knew she could play, and I knew she'd be a good coach, and I think you've been to the state tournament more than once. Okay, so that was one of the fairly good hires. All right, the campus you see today is not the campus that we walked on in August of 2002. Soccer and football teams shared the same practice field. That wasn't good. Soccer and football don't really get along, and at least they didn't. And football only had a small end of the field, and but we didn't have another place for them to practice. And you said, well, you can go to the main field. Well, that first year, we didn't even know if we were going to get on the field for our first game because the grass wasn't sprigged at the right time, and so it wasn't exactly growing. We did make it for our first home game, but you couldn't practice on it because it would wear the grass out. So in 2005, I convinced the board to let us sell some of the timber. There's wooded area off the back, and so we sold that. In fact, it was Mr. Taylor's father that who did timber business, and we sold the timber for $30,000. I thought, boy, we got a lot of money here. Well, I put out a bid, and I came back with one bid to level the area that's now the practice field. It was $60,000. And so we dropped back and went to Plan B. There was a man named Mark Bowers. His son played football and baseball. He had a construction business. He loaned us his bulldozer. Mr. Heath's brother Eddie was a bulldozer driver. And so he leveled, I think we paid for the gas and the sand. That's what we spent $30,000 on, and leveled out what is now the practice football field. And so they were able in the fall of 2005 to go down and have their own practice field. And I think Coach Daniel wasn't the coach that first year down there, but later he was, added that pavilion and some other things. Mr. Bowers also did some of the concrete, added concrete to the baseball backdrop, and he did the softball. And he did that, he didn't charge, he just did that. And later on, the baseball boosters built the that deck near the football concession for baseball.
Yeah,
And
when we
then-
opened, we
then
didn't have
you-
any dugouts, all we had was a
Yeah.
concrete slab.
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
You're getting ahead of me.
I knew you were gonna.
Yeah. Get on to you. All right, the only shop area we had was in the building downstairs, and that was shared by carpentry, auto mechanics, and agriculture. There was a pavilion out back. It was just a concrete pad. Later on, post and a roof was added to that. Then eventually, that was covered for space for carpentry. Then Miss Carol Hendricks, she's still here, the special ed area. She got a grant to build our, again, I'm out of order, to build our greenhouse. And at the time, that other shop area, which was the greenhouse retail building. And it was like that for several years. I think auto mechanics took that over, and I'm not sure now if, not auto mechanics, but agriculture may have that building back again. Is that right? Okay. And I think it was in 2010-11 that soccer added a concession stand to the side of that building. Softball and baseball. We did have the fencing for it, but we left the dugouts unfinished. I told them not to do more on that, knowing that the two coaches would have their own idea of what their dugouts should look like. And so Miss Jackson and her brother, Mr. Dawson, worked, laid block. Well, the masonry class actually laid the block on how they wanted it, because they weren't going to have a block around it or anything. So that's why I told them to leave it unfinished. And so Coach Clapper, they finished their fields, and the fields have grown. You've added more building on top of building out there to what we have now. There was no storage for field equipment. Mainly, we didn't have any field equipment. We didn't have anything to cut the grass, and grass on the football field, the baseball field, the softball field, they're gonna grow. So, Mr. Heath was able to, find money, finagle, and get field equipment, but where do you put it? We didn't have a place. So the Charlotte Lions Club, donated and built the the storage building we have now that's located between softball and baseball. There was not a sign at the road either, and Charlotte Lions Club, along with A1 Signs, donated that signs. And the Charlotte Lions Club was very instrumental doing a lot of things around here that first year. They also do a scholarship. The boys and girls citizenship winner each year is given $1,000 each from the Charlotte Lions Club to help pay for their first year of college. So Charlotte Lions also do the football program. That's how they get their money, but they give half of that money from the program back to the athletic department every year, and then they also do the scholarship. So a lot of good has come from the Charlotte Lions Club. Any new building that went up, I only asked that the ones that were doing buildings to be sure to put a red tin roof on it and not blue or silver or white or pink, whatever, to keep a consistency of look on the campus. I thought that was important. There wasn't a CW on the side of the hill, and so our masonry and agriculture class did that one in 2003-04, and it has since been updated, repainted, whatever. I think Coach Parker, when he was here, did some work on it. Mr. James, I think, keeps it up now. The flagpole, it was there, that sidewalk was there, but SAD, we had at that time the club SAD, under the direction of Miss Mobley, planted tulips. Do they still bloom in the spring? You notice? All along the sidewalk, red tulips will bloom, and she's the one that planted that. We didn't have that memory garden. It was added by a Girl Scout troop after we had lost several students. In the 8 years I was here, we lost 11 students. That was a large number of students, not the ones that had graduated, but students who were enrolled in Creekwood. When I was at Dixon County for 30 years, I don't think we even lost as many as 7 or 8. So 11 in 8 years was a large number, and so we have the memory garden, and Special Ed tended it for a while, and I don't know who takes care of it. I've noticed it's still being kept up.
Jobs
Yeah.
for Tennessee graduates.
Jobs for Tennessee
Yeah,
graduates,
they did.
okay. The trees and shrubbery, that first day there were no trees, no shrubbery. They came along and they were going to do trees and shrubs all over the place, and I kind of cut back on half of it. They were going to put them on in front of the building. Well, I thought we had a pretty good looking building. Didn't want to cover it up. So the trees and shrubs you see now are the ones that, as we walked around campus, well, yeah, that would be a good one, and some bushes down at the road. Those all bloomed a little later. Okay, some firsts. The first year we had around 800 students. We had 48 full-time teachers and 14 traveling teachers. They went between 2 schools or 3. In the second year we grew to 925 students, 59 full-time teachers with 10 traveling. We had a magazine drive the first year. We sold over $50,000, and I was able to dress up as a clown because that was part of the challenges, and we gave back over $3,500 to students. Didn't have a homecoming that first year. We had home beginning. Let me back up a little. Yeah. That's the things to show you. Well, we had home beginning. Here it is. Home beginning, because you can't have a coming home if you had never started. So we called it home beginning. And we didn't have a shop building for 3 or 4 years later. So where do you build your floats? You don't go off campus, you want to keep it on campus. So we set up 2 large tents in the parking lot near the tennis courts. And that was probably the hardest thing, one of the hardest things I did that year, because we had to pound these big holes down in the asphalt. That it was brand new and just paved. But we needed a place to build floats. So we had 2 tents, 2 classes under one tent, 2 under another tent. I hired a guard to stay there at night in case somebody, like from Dixon County, might want to come over and vandalize our floats. So we did that for 3 years, and the last 2 years just did one very, very large tent, and we put all 4 classes, and that was kind of a fun thing to do. The only bad thing was if you thought you were going to have a tornado or hurricane thing, we closed down early one night because we thought the tent was going to collapse because of the wind. The parade. Where do you have a parade? If I choose, say I choose Charlotte, who's unhappy? White Bluff. And if I choose those, so we had penny wars. We put a can in the grocery store into 47 in Charlotte, and another can in White Bluff at the Chapel's Food Town store there. And we collected money during lunchtime in the Commons. And whoever had the most money at the end of, I don't know, a week to 2 weeks, that town would get the parade. And so that's how White Bluff ended up having the first Creekwood parade. You know, being a principal, I found out was there were a lot of politics involved, and you didn't want to make different communities unhappy. And so it was good to let them choose. And that was an awesome parade. We had a great pep rally. We started that parade at William James Middle School, through town, up the hill all the way to their elementary school. That parade route was lined and packed with people all the way, cheering. I always walked at the end of each parade all 8 years I was here. It was a beautiful day, sunshine, and it was a great experience. Parent organizations, we did have the athletic boosters and the band boosters were organized during that first year. Since then, I know that choir has boosters, baseball has boosters. Different sports have their own booster system. I think soccer even does too. In athletics, our football, we had, here's our official program. We kept this cover for a little while. But the first year we had 8 games, 5 of them were at home, 3 away, and I don't even remember the scores. I don't think we won too many of them that first year. We had like 2 seniors on the team. The seniors that played football stayed at Dixon County. We were considered JV in football the first year because of the TSSAA rotation. It's 2 years, and it was in the second year, so we had to wait. The other sports, all the other sports, we fielded every sport in TSSAA except bowling, and of course it's been added in the last 5 years. But we did have sports and everything. We had a state winner our first year, Miss Elizabeth Dotson, played basketball and golf. She won golf her junior and her senior year, so we had state champions the first 2 years. In drama, well, we did have another copy. The second year, we won our homecoming game, and that made history. We have, the first year, we produced a play. It's called Our Town. Miss Nichols was the drama person there. Sorry that she had left here and went. I thought she did a good job. But we produced Our Town. Our newspaper. Do y'all still have a school newspaper? No? Well, the school newspaper was a Hawkeye Press. That was the first copy. Not every year, but some year they published our students, and this was the first year. Different students' works were published, and they call those thoughts. And then, our first annual, it has everything that happened. We didn't get it till like November the next year, but we went red the first year, and then blue, and then gray, and then after that they went psychedelic and crazy and did all kind of weird colors. We were in the first year we were nominated for the A.F. Bridges Award. That is really a special award in athletics. It has to do with sportsmanship. That means that you didn't have any red cards in soccer. You didn't have people disqualified in baseball or wrestling or did I say softball? I don't know that you ever have. Baseball has and wrestling. Anyway, soccer especially, red cards. So we were nominated. We didn't receive it that year. We have received it twice, and I know there's at least one banner up. There should be at least two of them up, because in the 8 years I was here, we did get 2 A.F. Bridges Awards. Okay, graduation. Our first graduation, I think we graduated around 85 out of the 100 that started. We did give medalists. Dixon had the gold, bronze, and silver, and we did the blue, red, and gray. It was voted on by the faculty, and we also did the Citizenship Award. We graduated on May 31st at 10 o'clock in the morning in the stadium. Now, Dixon County had a tradition of walking down the hill, from the top of the hill down to graduate. It's a big deal with them. Well, later in the year when I was talking with the seniors, do you want to have a tradition? And that, yes, they did. Well, we didn't want to walk down the hill, because if you walk down the hill here, what do you have to do? You have to walk back up. So that wasn't a good plan, not a good plan. So we thought, and so we decided to line up downstairs in the hall from the steps back to the library. We would come up the steps and walk down the long hall. Now that long hall, you walk down that hall to come in the building. You walk down the hall, down the hall to go to your classrooms, to lunch, back to your classrooms. You came here today, down that hall. That is the main hallway. So we decided to have the last walk of the building. And so down the hall, through the commons, and our teachers were there in the commons clapping as we came by. It's an awesome feeling, at least for me, to have our teachers. They were standing there in black gowns. Our teachers voted to be a part of graduation. That was a big thing for them to do. Dixon County, yes, they're at graduation. Some of them sneak off as soon as they're down the hill. They're not sitting out there on the field with the students participating in graduation. That's a big thing. So they would clap as the seniors walked by, and then they fell in at the back and went on to the stadium. Great moments at Creekwood. I thought back, one of the great moments I thought it was our first faculty meeting. I hadn't had to do faculty meetings before. Get up and talk to 50 teachers and I had to plan for 5 days. But I knew one of the first things that we needed to do, I had close to 50 teachers coming in who did not know the building. So one of the first things we did, I divided them into teams and gave them a list of questions, and they had a scavenger hunt. I sent them out for about an hour to 2 hours. I don't remember exactly how long. Going around, they had to count the restrooms. They had to find locker numbers. They had to find classrooms. Like, where's the choir room? And so that was one way, because then we were having 800 students come in the next week who didn't know this building at all. Some might have been in here in the summer looking around, but of course not all of them. And I don't know if you remember back to your freshman year, what it was like coming in this building. Not exactly know where you are. And so that was a great moment. We had cool schools. We were here at this building at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Students and teachers.
There were 1,000 students, teachers, parents and community people in our gym. We served breakfast, and Channel 4 was here to film us. I had one of those blow-up slides that you rent, and we had students that went over and did that. We did tug of war. Cheerleaders had some cheers, and then our teachers performed. And our teachers were in jeans, and we had cool school t-shirts. They were that and white boas. I think there were probably like 20 teachers or more and we stayed after school practice.
We did.
And I dressed up as the dancing queen. I had a wig and blue shiny suit and heels and sunglasses, and I pantomimed dancing queen. And so we did that. They danced and was my backdrop, and so that was an awesome experience. I don't usually get up and make a fool of myself in front of people, but that was a fun thing. Then the kids got to leave. All that wanted to got to leave at 11 o'clock since they'd been there at 4. They'd put in a full day, so the board agreed to let them go home. Another great moment was when Dixon County and Creekwood played. It would have been an even greater moment if we could have won that game, but we didn't. But we had 5,000 people here. We had to bring in bleachers from our different sports venues here to the football stadium. We brought some from Dixon County, put the students, Dixon County at one end and Creekwood's in the other in those bleachers. And for our football guys to have the opportunity and cheerleaders to perform in front of that many people, that doesn't happen inside Dixon County very often, that you have 5,000 cheering. We had the man behind the football field, he let us use his field to park cars in. There were people everywhere wanting to get in early. So it was a good day. Like I said, it would have been a little bit better if we'd won. Then there's another good moment was the first day in front of seniors, juniors and seniors, each school year. And I told them, and you're captured so I can give you a little bit of what I used to give them. I told them that each of you has a distinct place at Creekwood High School. Each of you brings a distinct personality like no one else. And you can make a difference if you want to. Then I asked them to choose. I asked them to choose 9 things. I asked them to choose love because no occasion justifies hatred. I asked them to choose joy because we need to refuse the temptation to be cynical. I asked them to choose peace, to forgive others. For patience, that you overlook inconveniences. I asked them to choose kindness, be kind to all. I asked them for goodness, to help one another. I asked them for faithfulness, keep your promises. I asked them to choose gentleness, because nothing is won by force. And then they didn't like this one. I asked them to choose self-control, to be drunk only on joy. And then I also, to the seniors at our last meeting before we had graduation practice, I always quoted Edwin Markham because I love this statement. There is a destiny that makes us brothers. None goes his way alone. What we send into the lives of others comes back into our own. Another thing I did through the years, if I can find where I did it, at Christmas, I always gave the teachers pens. So I was here 8 years, so I gave out 8 pens, and I don't know if they still do that. But I had the walking, well, just different ones, and you can look at it. When we did the football, practice football field, and I was walking around, I collected a rock and wrote on it, so I'd have a souvenir of doing that. Different other souvenirs. I have our first program from graduation, and then the Herald always would have a big section, and so we'll have some of those. Of course, I'd have to have the cool school when I was on Channel 4. Anyway.
And that was televised on the news too. That was on television.
It was. It was on Channel 4. Yeah. So, you may have some questions. I don't know. I went too fast, but I can try to answer anything. Yes, ma'am.
That shield that has the harp and,
Mm-hmm.
isn't there like the foot with wings?
Oh, let me get my shield out. There's not a foot. It may look like a foot. Excuse me, camera.
There you go.
Oh,
That's joint hands. From a distance, it might look like a foot, but
no, I mean, I thought there was, the foot with wings, I thought there was, but no, it's.
unless they've changed it.
No, that's an add-on.
Okay.
I don't think so. It would be good if we
Now, as you go down the steps back to your class, the shield is right there in front of you, on that wall. I noticed that this morning. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Was there a dress code in the beginning?
Yes, there was a dress code, but not the one you have now. The dress code with the, and I don't know what your dress code now is, if it's the polo shirts and the khakis and jeans, or the Creekwood color shirt. I did have a dress code, but it was not the uniform type dress code. It was no holes in your jeans. Girls' shorts had to be fingertip length. No pajamas, no house shoes, no colored hair, no piercings other than in your ear. There was a dress code, but it
Hands
was,
pulled up.
but yeah, no sagging. Okay.
Yeah, man.
For the most part, they did. There wasn't too many fights.
How long did it take to build this school?
Oh, probably around 2 years. I started coming over even before I was named principal. I would come over on Saturdays and walk through the building and try to guess what was what. And so that was maybe a year before, and that was even before I decided. I didn't decide right away to apply. I thought I'd come over as an assistant principal. As it got time to, they advertised it, I decided I could do it. I believe in the scripture that says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and I decided I could be the principal if I surrounded myself with the right help. I did surround myself with the right help. Ms. Jackson was here the first year, Ms. Street was, Mr. Sally. I heard Ms. Sutherland 2 years later maybe?
No, that year.
Okay,
That summer you hired me.
okay. She wasn't sure. She was coming from Burns Elementary. She wasn't sure she wanted to come to high school. There were questions the first year about whether we would open, whether there'd be enough money. There was rumors about this building, and I was here from like 7 in the morning to 8 at night that summer. One, because I couldn't get my work done. I had to go to every door in this building, put keys in it, and label them, and then I pounded out the number on all those keys. But I also gave tours to everybody that wanted to tour. There were a lot of groups. There was a rumor that our handrails, the steps that go downstairs, had velvet on the handrails. I mean, people, they were crazy. I mean, who would put velvet on the handrails? And so people would come up looking to see if we had those types of things. So, but it's a great building. You would think a brand new building wouldn't have problems. That first year, the fire alarm went off every time we turned around, and I'd tear to the office, and we didn't go out every time. The fire marshal didn't really like that, but it was these little, it wasn't a fire. Just a little, I don't even remember what you call those, but if the wind blew on them wrong, it set the fire alarm off. So, yes, ma'am.
Why was this location chosen to have the school built on it?
Well, when I was growing up, there were 3 schools. There was a school in Charlotte, a school in White Bluff, and Dixon County. They consolidated those, and we opened Dixon County in 1972. Well, as time went on, the Charlotte and White Bluff community wanted a school back in their area. They thought that more things were slanted toward Dixon County residents than Charlotte and White Bluff, that they got favors. And so they wanted, they looked around. I think the school area was looked in Pomona, but The first land was down Shelton near Mr. Bush's land. That was vetoed, and then this land became available, and they built it here.
How many acres?
I have no idea. I don't know. Let's say 40. I really don't know because it goes down to the creek. First year we had students that would sneak off down to the creek during the day, and so we had to kind of stop that. They probably still do that. But anyway, go swimming some, you know, in the springtime. Anyway.
I think Misty's gonna go down the creek, Misty's gonna go down the creek during homecoming and run people off.
Anything else? Okay.
Y'all make sure while you have her, if you wanna ask anything. Any curiosity. Y'all wanna take some pictures of some of the stuff she brought in there? Do you mind if they?
No, they can come up and look at any of it.
What y'all gonna tell them? Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We miss you.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
I just want to say that I am grateful for what you've done for us in this school.
Thank
And
you.
we miss you terribly. It was a great experience.
I miss the students, I miss teachers, I miss not knowing you guys. There were some headaches as a principal, I'll tell you that. And so I don't miss those, but I do miss relationships. Did you had your hand? No? Okay. Stretching? Yeah. But you know, if you want to look at this or whatever.
She actually, sold her house in Dixon and bought a house 7 years closer to the school. That's how.
Dedicated.
When I was coming over it in the morning, that fire alarm would go off and I'd have to come over. And so it just made sense to come live 4 minutes from the school.